All right, this is pretty basic. Ki Tavo. And just kind of as a heads up. So we got short aliyot. The reason we have short aliyot, and the reason you see the aliyot here are fairly short, is because if we were reading the full version, the full parsha, see how that's 63 verses?
Wow.
This is the second time in the Torah. First
Wow.
time is in Leviticus that contains a passage known as the Tochacha. The Tochacha means warning. It goes on for a few verses about how if you do what you're supposed to do, if you commit to fulfilling the commandments, everything will be great. The ground will yield produce. You'll get the late rains and the early rains and the late rains at in the right time, so you'll be able to eat really well. There'll be water. Five of you will chase 100 of your enemies, et cetera, et cetera. And then it goes on at length, 40 to 50 verses about what will happen if you don't. And if you don't get it the first time, and if you don't get it the second time, and if you don't get it the third, it goes for 5 times. And God says, during each time, you're stubborn. I know who you people are. You're a stiff necked people. You don't get it. It takes you a long time to come to your senses, but just know that I'm here for you when you turn it around. So that's not in our reading. It was last year. And I think those of you that were at that service remember when I read it in a soft voice like this. Because if you read it in a regular voice, then God's going to think, oh, okay, you want that. No, 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 no. Shh. That's basically it. So we say it in a soft voice.
That's funny.
Okay. With that, first Aliyah, 26, 1 to 3. Vahaya ki tavo el haaretz asher Adonai Elohecha notain lecha nachala virishta v'yashavta ba. 2. Velakachta mereshit kol peri ha'adama asher tavi me'artzecha asher Adonai Elohecha notain lach v'samta vatene v'halachta el ha'makom asher yivchar Adonai Elohecha leshaken shemo sham. 3. Uvata el hakohen asher yiyeh bayamim hahem ve'amarta elav higadti hayom ladonai Elohecha ki vati el haaretz asher nishba Adonai la'avotenu latet lanu. Okay, here's the second aliyah. And by the way, that's going to be on Zoom next week too, for obvious reasons. Unless people are really bent on coming to the synagogue at 6 o'clock at night. I don't think so, but yeah. All right, second aliyah, 4 to 8, 26, 4 to 8. Velakach hakohen hateneh miyadecha vahinicho, I'm sorry, lifnei mizbach Adonai Elohecha. 5. Ve'anita ve'amarta lifnei Adonai Elohecha arami oved avi vayered mitzrayma vayagor, looks like. Sham Bim te ma'at vayhi sham legoy gadol atzum va rav. What does this remind people of, this verse? Does this look familiar to anybody? Right out of the Haggadah. Or this, or the Haggadah is right out of this. Vayareu otanu ha-mitzrayim vayanu vayitanu alenu avodah kasha.
Passover?
Yep, totally. Right out of it's right in the Haggadah. Well, let me change this real quick. Why do they do that? Seven. Vanitzak El Adonai Elohei Avotenu Vayishma Adonai Et Kolenu Vayar Et, I think that's on Yenu, yeah, on Yenu, Va'et Amalenu Va'et Lachatzenu. 8. Vayotzienu Adonai mi Mitzrayim biyad chazaka uvizroa netuya uvmora gadol uvotot uvmovtim. Okay, that, boys and girls, is the second aliyah. Third, 9 to 11. Maybe I'll just have you guys do the whole thing. Aren't I cruel? I'll tell you a story later. Tell you how cruel I really am. Vayvienu el hamakom hazeh vayiten lanu et haaretz hazot eretz zavat chalav udvash. Eretz zavat chalav udvash. You know that song, right? Ve'ata hine heveti et reshit peri ha'adama asher natata li Adonai vahi nachto lifnei Adonai Elohecha v'hishtachavita lifnei Adonai Elohecha. 11. V'samachta bechol hatov asher natan lecha Adonai Elohecha ulveitecha ata v'halevi v'hager asher bekirbecha. And that's the third aliyah. So years ago when I worked in the psych hospital, part of the program was to give these kids these, I forgot what they call them, interactions, these assignments where you had to have this little passage and you had to go to one of your peers, one of the other kids, and then to a certain number of kids, maybe three kids that were also in the program, and also to a couple of staff people. and have, that discussion. And this one kid, his primary gave him something about interacting with girls. And he was going to the guys, and I looked at him. I said, "So your primary gave you this?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "If I was your primary and I gave you this, I'd make you do it to all the girls." And he looks at me and goes, "You are cruel." All right. Fourth Aliyah, 12 to 15. Ki techelet la ser et kol ma'asar tuvuatcha ki techelet. That's like a blue. Oh, techelet. That's in the third paragraph. That word is in the third paragraph of the Shema. Techelet, that's right. You're setting aside the blue fringe with the other tzitzit. That's what ki techelet. Because techelet means blue, but I guess it comes from the word to set aside. Okay. Et kol masar, that's the 10th part of your yield. That's your tax. Tevuatcha, that's how the Kohanes and the Levites live. Bashana, Hashlishit, Shanat, year of Hamaaser, Venatata, La Levi. First year goes to the Kohen, second year goes to the Levite, third year goes to the unfortunate widow, the orphan, and the righteous stranger that are still trying to figure out how they're going to make it. La Ger, here it is, stranger, La Yaton, the orphan, Ula Almana, and the widow. By the way, you know that the mourner's Kaddish, the Kaddish Yaton, that's what the Hebrew name is. Va'achlo bish arecha vesaveu. 13. Ve'amarta lifnei Adonai Elohecha BRT HaKodesh min habayit vegam netativ la Levi vela ger la yaton vela almana kachol mitzvatcha asher tzivitani lo avarti mi mitzvo. See that vo tza vowel there tza, so that's a vo, not so. Okay, techa velo shachachti. And this is exactly what they say. This is word for word when they present their tithe, which is the Greek word for tenth. 14. Lo achalti beveoni mimeni. That's interesting. Ve'oni. Usually that word is with an I and not an aleph. Mimenu. Velo VRT. Mibenu. Betame. Velo natati. Mimenu. Lamet. Shamati. Bekol. Adonai. Elohai. Asiti. Kechol. Asher Tzivitani. 15. Hashkifa Mimaon Kodshacha. By the way, the word Kaddish means separate. Kadosh comes from the word Kaddish, which means separate. Just like the word Baruch comes from the word Berech, which means bend, because you bend the knee when you bow, when you're making something holy. And Kadosh, we're holy because we're separate from everybody else. Min hashamayim uvarech et amacha. That's from today's Daf Yomi in the Talmud. Et Yisrael ve'et ha'adama asher natata lanu ka'asher nishbachta la'avotenu. Yeah, when we got like an ayin or an aleph with a silent vowel, I usually just take a pause. Nishbachta. I read that somewhere. La'avotenu eretz zavat chalav udvash. There it is. Eretz zavat chalav chalav udvash. Okay, and here's the third aliyah. And here's a water break. Coffee only goes so far in quenching your thirst. All right, next aliyah is 16 to 19. Aliyah 5. Ya'amod chamishi hayom hazeh Adonai Elohecha metzavcha la'asot et hachukim ha'ele ve'et hamishpatim ve'shamarta ve'asita otam b'chol levavcha uvchol nafshecha. 17. Et Adonai he'emarta hayom liot lecha le'elohim ve'lalechet bidrachav ve'lishmor chukav umitzvotav. There it is again, mitzvotav. Umishpatav ve'lishmoa bekolo. 18. Chai. Vadonai. So it's not va Adonai, it's vadonai. You slur it together. He'emircha hayom liot lo la'am segula, treasured people. Ka'asher diber lach ve'lishmor kol mitzvotav. 19. Utitcha elyon. Hey, 19. Al ha kol hagoyim asher asa lit hi la ushem ultif aret veliyotcha am kadosh ladonai Elohecha ka'asher diber. Ya'amot shishi. 27, 1 to 4. Vaitzav Moshe veziknei Yisrael et ha'am lemor shamor et kol ha-mitzvah asher anochi mitzaveh et chem hayom. 2. V'haya bayom asher ta'avru et ha-yarden, that's Jordan, El haaretz asher Adonai Elohecha noten lach v'hakemota lecha avanim gedolot v'sadta otam basid. 3. V'chatavta alehem et kol divrei haTorah hazot be'ov recha lema'an asher tavo el haaretz asher Adonai Elohecha noten lecha eretz zavat chalav ud vash ka'asher diber Adonai Elohei avotecha lach. 4. V'haya be'avrachem et hayarden takimu et ha'avanim ha'ele asher anochi mitzaveh etchem hayom behar Eval, Mount Eval, v'sadta otam ba'sid. All right, this is the last aliyah. We're on 7, 5 to 10. Uvanita sham mizbeach ladonai Elohecha. Use my left arm now. Mizbach avanim lo tanif alehem barzel. Avanim shalemot tivne et mizbach Adonai, altar of God, Elohecha, your Lord, your God, veha alita alav olot ladonai Elohecha. 7. Vezavachta shelamim ve'achalta sham ve'samachta lifnei Adonai Elohecha. 8. Ve'chatavta al ha'avanim et kol divrei ha'torah hazot ba'er heitev. Could you imagine inscribing every word on this on these big rocks with plaster? Some sages say that didn't. What they did was they did just the 10 Commandments. Other rabbis said no. It said all these words of the Torah, and it's all the words. And other people said no. It was just these words, the ones in Deuteronomy. So, when we find the rocks, if we ever do, we'll know. Hopefully, we will. That'd be cool. Now they think they found Noah's Ark. 9. Vaydaber Moshe ve'hakohanim halviyim el kol Yisrael lemor hasket ushma Yisrael. Oh, hasket, check it. Okay. Hayom hazeh niyeta. Nieta, see where that little bar is? Nieta, right at the end. I don't know why they had to do that, but they did. La'am, because it's usually taken for granted it's at the end anyway. So, Ladonai Elohecha. 10. Veshamata B'kol Adonai Elohecha ve'asita et mitzvotav, no yud. Why is there no yud? Because that's for the 10 Commandments. Yud is 10. Ve'et chukav, so you got a yud here. None there though, huh? Asher anochi mitzavacha ha-yom. And that's it. Now we go to the muftir. Muftir. Ba yes, bandana.
It looked like there were two maftirs. One on what was the distinction? You chose the one that was in the full Kriya.
Okay, this is the
Yeah.
maf. This is the maftir at the end of the full kriya, like you said.
Uh-huh.
If you're only doing the triennial year one,
Uh-huh.
then they say just do the last 3 or 4 verses
Yeah.
of the actual triennial reading.
Right.
If this was the second triennial year, the maftir for the triennial cycle for year two would be the last 3 or 4 verses of that portion, of
Right.
that middle
Okay.
portion. And
Yeah.
then, of course, the third triennial cycle, it's the same. I like to do this because, well, quite frankly, it's convenient because now the Torah's rolled to next week.
Okay.
Plus, it's different. It's just a different,
Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
it's a repeat. So if you
Right.
notice, the maftir is always part of the seventh reading,
Right.
or theoretically.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? Because the maftir is technically not one of the readings. The person
Mm.
who does the maftir is the person who's going to do the haftarah.
Mm.
Now, because the maftir is not officially part of the reading, you can call somebody who is within 6 months of doing bar mitzvah for that particular aliyah, which is what I plan to do to Cameron. And I've told him that. I said, you guys should come Saturday morning. I will call you up. You're within 6 months of your bar mitzvah. I will call you up for the maftir. That way you get practice in coming up to the Torah.
Mm.
I'm real big on that. I like hands-on. That's just me. And it always gets me in trouble. So good for me. Hey, you notice on that last reading yesterday, I got all those heaves and who's, huh? Heaves and who's.
Yeah.
Well, it was actually easy because they were talking about a girl who gets accosted outside of the town and she can't scream or there's nobody there to hear her screaming. If she was accosted in the town, then the question is, why didn't you scream and cry for help? Because you didn't want to, because you wanted that. And now they hold her responsible. But if she's out in the outliers, if she happens to be walking by herself, which is another question all on its own, and you cry for help and there's nobody to hear you, then you're not to blame. Okay, 6 to 8, and that brings us to the end of this particular portion. Vatavo'u el hamakom hazeh, this place, vayetze Sichon melech Heshbon, king of the Heshbones, va'og melech Habashan ligratenu la milchama venakem. 7. Vanikach et artsam vanita na lenachala la uveni. Notice we say Reuben, but in Hebrew it's Reuven. See, a son. Reu, see, vein, son. Velagadi, velachatzi, shevet hamnashi. 8. Ushmartem et divrei habarit hazot va'asitem otam lema'an taskilu et kol asher ta'asun. That's it. Questions, comments? Keep your criticisms to yourself, but other than that, I'm good for feedback. So let's stop share. Let's stop recording. Actually, I'll just stop the recording.
Oh, can I ask you what's the cello note taker thing? What's that?
Where?
Well, it appears, it appears every time we do this. Is that part of the recording? It
And what are you
says,
looking at?
Oh, Marcelo's recording.
oh, that's Marcelo's recording? Okay,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
got it.
Marcelo is recording it for himself and he wanted permission or something
Okay,
to,
okay,
yeah.
got it. Okay, okay, got it. Okay,
Good.
that's cool.
So you can do that too if you wanted to. I don't have a problem.